Tonight, we will finally hear the tale of a man whose unending quest for kindness is changing lives. Although many American children aspire to own a lemonade stand, few believe they must. After a horrible nightmare morning, Emery Johnson, then 7 years old, launched her business a few weeks ago. I received the worst news of my life when I woke up. Sarah definitely wouldn't have believed it when she set up her lemonade stand that morning if someone had told her that Elon Musk would stop by and transform her entire story. But in this video, you'll soon learn what Elon Musk did that stunned everyone. Young Sarah had set up a little lemonade kiosk in the park on that sweltering Tuesday. Well, a war today and a lovely sight. In their community, some teenage philanthropists opened a lemonade shop. Off Salida and Ilef for a worthy cause. Indeed, they are a brother and sister pair. Every morning at 6, they venture outside to sell lemonade and generate some cash. With its tattered linen, unsteady table, and mismatched glasses. Above her stand, her hand-drawn cardboard sign that read, "Lemonade for Food," fluttered in the wind. However, there were only a few cents and a dented can of green beans in the contribution jar next to her. Sarah stood tall, proud, and determined next to an empty park bench in spite of the heat and her enormous cap covering her eyes. She appeared to be just another child enjoying a warm afternoon outside to anyone who happened to go by. But there was more in Sarah's focused, serious eyes. She was anxious behind her smile since she could hear her parents conversing softly at night and could see how exhausted her dad appeared during dinner. Sarah heard her mother mutter that she would skip dinner so that she and her younger brother could eat. At that moment, Sarah had a thought. She had seen children operating lemonade stands and selling lemonade for spare change on a few TV shows. Spare change was not what Sarah wanted. She was hungry. She guessed that if she could trade canned beans for lemonade. A young girl in Scottsboro is using an old-fashioned lemonade stand to raise money. However, the cause is not what you may anticipate. Her household and possibly other families could benefit from rice in cartons or even a loaf of bread. The initial response was ambivalent. As they went by, the customers grinned politely, with some pausing to comment on how clever it was, but none of them made a purchase. Sarah was unfazed by that. She made her count every night. A half-full jar of peanut butter here, a dented can of corn there. Although she took pride in everything she picked up, fewer people seemed to notice her stand as the days passed, and her supply of lemonade diminished. Perhaps it had been a dumb idea after all, Sarah thought as she sat there that afternoon and watched the park's regular stream of joggers and dog walkers go by without pausing. A homeless man with shabby clothing and a weary countenance had passed by that same afternoon. Near the curb, Sarah saw him stopping, his eyes focused on the lemonade, but his hands empty. She poured a cup and gave it to him without hesitation. The girl got out of the car as we were selling lemonade, and I asked if she wanted to. She said, "Yeah." And then she picked up the chip jar, proceeded to the car's passenger seat, and drove off. She smiled kindly and said, "Here, it's on me." After giving her a startled look, the man muttered a silent, "Thank you," took a long drink, and turned to leave. Sarah didn't give it much thought. Her parents had always taught her that it was the right thing to do. At that moment, a man wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap passed past. He paused and glanced at her placard, which was presumably lengthier than most. However, that was the man who was going to alter her entire narrative. Elon Musk was that man. From a distance, Elon had witnessed the encounter with the homeless man, and it profoundly affected him. That day, Elon Musk happened to be at the park. This small village was a quick stop on his route to a nearby location where Tesla was testing a new version of its solar-powered charging station, even though he had not intended to visit. He had a busy schedule as usual, balancing a number of meetings, phone calls, and brainstorming sessions. However, his assistant had mentioned something strange about the town's economics in passing on the way there. Hundreds of people were left jobless when the nearby plant, which was meant to be the town's lifeline, recently closed. Musk had long been captivated by the potential of technology to improve failing communities. So, before his meeting, he took a brief detour, stretched his legs, and looked around. To avoid being noticed, Musk wore sunglasses and a baseball cap while strolling through the local park and enjoying the peaceful surroundings. He saw Sarah's lemonade stand at that moment. An 8-year-old girl from Ohio is nearly forced out of the lemonade industry. At a local food fair last weekend, she was the target of complaints from some merchants in Alliance. He nearly passed it at first, writing it off as another of those cute, kid-friendly endeavors he had seen a million times. But he stopped for whatever reason. He looked at the sign. For food, lemonade. The typical 50 cents a cup spiel wasn't used. He paused to watch as Sarah filled a paper cup with lemonade for an old man who who gave her a tiny bag of rice in exchange. Musk came over, interested in learning more about this unusual business strategy. It brought back memories of his early money-making endeavors, like crafting candy and hawking them door to door in South Africa. Sarah's resourcefulness resonated with him at that moment. Even before adversity entered their story, Sarah and her family's Christian religion was a pillar of their lives. Sarah had learned early on the value of kindness, charity, and having faith in God through difficult circumstances. Her parents frequently reminded her that faith was about carrying out what Jesus taught, not just attending church, and that Sundays were set aside for their tiny church. Contributing to those in need without expecting anything in return, loving your neighbor, and assisting the underprivileged. Even though her lemonade stand is small, it reflects those ideals. Last month, Emery Johnson, age 7, lost her mother, Carly. The family didn't have the funds to purchase a gravestone, and it was a tragic incident. In order to help pay for one, Emery made the decision to sell lemonade. Sarah was compelled to take action when she considered the other families in her community who were going through similar difficulties. Her mother used to say, "We can't do everything, but we can do something, and that's sufficient." But their difficulties put their faith to the test in unexpected ways. The loss of Sarah's father's work was a devastating blow to their entire family. The previously cozy dinners around the table became meticulous calculations of what they could afford as bills started to mount. Despite their best efforts to protect her and her siblings from the worst, Sarah could see the stress in their prayers, the way her dad stayed in the garage a little longer, and the tiredness on her mother's face from working extra hours. Why is this taking place? One evening, Sarah had inquired while holding her Bible, "Does God not give a damn?" Sarah's mother knelt next to her and wiped a tear off her cheek. She muttered, "He cares more than we'll ever know." Sometimes having faith entails having trust, even when the plan is difficult to perceive. The lesson was one Sarah will remember. In an attempt to change the world in any way, she would add one to each cup of lemonade she sold. "What about lemonade for food?" Crouching next to the stand, he spoke. "It's an intriguing concept. How are things going?" A little taken aback by the inquiry, Sarah looked up. "I guess it's okay," she shrugged. "Not many people stop, but some do." Like he was inspecting something significant, the man picked up one of the plastic cups on the table and flipped it over in his hands. "You know, most people just sell lemonade for money," he replied carefully. "With her lemonade stand, Lemonade for Lunch, Maya hopes to raise money. This project comes right after her first attempt at running a lemonade business." "Why food?" Sarah paused for a second. Normally, she wouldn't tell strangers her story, but there was something reliable about him. "My dad got laid off," she said quietly. "Food is also costly. Perhaps I could assist my family," I reasoned. "And if we have extra, give it to other people who need it too." He nodded, a small smile playing on his lips, though his expression was unreadable behind his sunglasses. "That's a pretty awesome idea, Sarah." Her eyes widened. "How do you know my name?" He pointed to her lemonade stand, where her name was scrawled in block letters on another sign. "Sarah's lemonade stand." "Oh," she said, giggling. The man stood and reached for his phone. "Mind if I take a picture of your stand?" Sarah hesitated. I guess that's okay." As he sipped the lemonade, the man murmured, "This is really good." A couple of passers-by began to take notice, their curious glances lingering as they whispered to one another. It was as if they recognized him, though Sarah couldn't imagine why. Soon the whispers grew louder and a small crowd started to gather. The man seemed to sense it, his shoulders tensing as he handed Sarah a folded bill, more than enough for the lemonade, and leaned closer. "Hey," he said in a low voice, "can I get your parents' contact info? I've got some ideas I'd like to share with them. I'm drinking a cup of my pink lemonade." "Do you have a secret recipe?" "Kind of, yeah. I was just selling lemonade at my dad's work. I was having a really fun time." Sarah blinked, puzzled, but nodded, scribbling down her mom's phone number on a scrap of paper. She didn't fully understand why he wanted it, but he had been kind, so she handed it over. "Thanks," he said, slipping the paper into his pocket and standing. As soon as the audience recognized him, they said, "That's Elon Musk." He turned and left quickly as soon as someone gasped. Sarah sat there wide-eyed and unsure of what had just happened, clutching the bill he'd left behind. That night, as Sarah sat at the kitchen table counting her meager earnings, a single can of soup and a box of spaghetti, her father's phone buzzed unexpectedly. The phone had been silent for weeks, especially since they'd cut off their internet service to save money. At first, he ignored it, assuming it was a telemarketer or a wrong number. But the calls didn't stop. Curious and slightly annoyed, he finally answered, his tone curt. What he heard on the other end, however, made him freeze. "Hello, Mr. Rodriguez. This is Emily from Elon Musk's office. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. He hesitated, still processing the fact that someone from Elon Musk's office was actually calling. No, what's this about? He stammered. I'm reaching out because Elon saw something truly inspiring today, Emily continued. He happened to come across your daughter, Sarah, at her lemonade stand, and he wanted to connect with you and your family. In her first week, Emery's family tells WHNT she made $10,000. And Carly's tombstone will be donated. They say they're overwhelmed by the outpouring of kindness. But to think that the billionaire behind Tesla and SpaceX was taking an interest in his family was almost too much to fathom. That's right, Emily confirmed. Elon was so impressed that he wanted to help. He's asking if he could meet with you and Sarah to discuss how he can support your family and even assist with some opportunities for Sarah's future. The room was silent for a moment. Sarah's father glanced over at his daughter, still engrossed in her task, unaware of the magnitude of the conversation unfolding. His heart pounded. What kind of help are we talking about? He asked, the disbelief still heavy in his voice. Well, Elon would like to talk about it in person. His mind raced as he processed this news, and then slowly the overwhelming weight of it all began to sink in. I don't even know what to say, he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. This is beyond anything we ever imagined. Emily's voice softened. Elon's team will take care of all the details. We just wanted to make sure you knew how much he admires Sarah's determination, and he wants to do everything he can to support her. Sarah's father, still in shock, turned to look at Sarah, who had paused and was now staring at him, her eyes wide with confusion. Someone's looking for you, he whispered, the enormity of the moment finally hitting him. Emily's voice cut through his reverie. We'll arrange a meeting soon, Mr. Rodriguez. You'll hear from us shortly. With that, the call ended, leaving him holding the phone in disbelief. As Sarah's father slowly set the phone down, his hands trembling, he looked at his daughter, who was still trying to process what he had said. The next few moments felt like a dream. Sarah's lemonade stand, her act of pure kindness, had led to an extraordinary twist in their lives. A group of kids in upstate New York held a lemonade stand to raise money for animals the storm left in need. The man in the baseball cap turned out to be Elon Musk, though Sarah wouldn't know until that much later. Sarah didn't know much about him, only that he was some rich guy her dad occasionally mentioned. But when she saw the tweet he'd sent to his millions of followers, her world changed overnight. Saw an 8-year-old trading lemonade for food to help her family and others. Brilliant kid. Let's show her some love. Within hours, Sarah's story went viral. To her, he was just another passerby who seemed kind enough to stop and ask questions about her stand. Musk, however, had been deeply moved by what he saw. A young girl, barely old enough to write neatly, leveraging her creativity and determination to support her struggling family. It reminded him of his own journey, from selling homemade chocolate Easter eggs as a child in South Africa to later overcoming repeated failures in the early days of Tesla and SpaceX. The subsequent events demonstrated the ability of social media to spread simple but powerful stories. In just a few hours, Sarah's lemonade stand went viral online. Donations started to come in from all around the nation. Some offered to mail food and supplies straight to her home, while others sent money through digital payment applications. A story about perseverance in the face of adversity was picked up by a local news station and aired. Neighbor to help the victims of that fire in Northeast Fresno, Kaylee started a lemonade stand to raise money for her own dog kennel. But after seeing her neighbor's house go up in flames, she decided to step in and help. Soon after, national media sites began to portray Sarah's lemonade stand as a grassroots effort to combat hunger in the community. Her inventiveness was contrasted by commentators with that of other inspirational people, such as Kane Monroy, the young man who made a cardboard arcade that went viral and eventually sparked a global campaign to help young business owners. Sarah's tale struck a chord because it was straightforward but impactful, serving as an example that even a child's little endeavor can have a big impact and bring about change. More than just a sign of hope, Sarah's lemonade shop in her town inspired a larger discussion on food insecurity and community assistance. Motivated by her initiative, nearby companies started holding food drives, and neighbors banded together to establish a pantry for low-income families. Even though her story was made public by Musk's tweet, the nation was enthralled by Sarah's unwavering spirit. One journalist commented, "She serves as confirmation that small acts of bravery frequently lead to the solution of large problems." Sarah saw what began as a straightforward lemonade stand grow into a movement she never would have thought possible, one that changed her town and motivated many others to follow suit. However, the story did not stop there. A small lemonade stand that Sarah set up to help those in need was the beginning of something spectacular. A bystander posted her account on social media, and it quickly gained popularity. Come back. A little girl in Ohio is proving she has a big heart. Her lemonade stand for charity. It just keeps on growing. Here's ABC's Whit Johnson. After the story of the young girl with a huge heart was reported by news outlets, kids all around the nation were immediately motivated to follow in her footsteps with signs like Lemonade for Food or Zip to Support. Lemonade stalls started to appear in neighborhoods all throughout the country. The goal was very clear: to assist individuals who are food insecure. Some kids donated to local food pantries by pooling their winnings. Others donated their packed meals and canned items to community centers and shelters after bartering their lemonade for them. Families posted pictures of their stands on social media and tagged them with #LemonadeForFood, which sparked a national awareness campaign. Schools also paid attention. The concept was welcomed by educators and administrators who set up lemonade stand fundraisers on school property. These incidents turned into teaching moments about empathy, cooperation, and the power of little deeds. Some schools even hosted contests to see which class could raise the most funds or collect the most food donations, fostering a spirit of friendly competition for a good cause. There was no denying the impact. Sarah's campaign began as a single act of kindness. A 6-year-old entrepreneur, Ishmael Ruiz, is pouring up his own lemonade in Bolingbrook to help his family and other kids like him, and quickly expanded into a movement that brought individuals from all walks of life together. Participation started from local companies and community leaders who matched donations and supplied materials for lemonade booths. Donations to food banks increased dramatically, enabling them to serve more families than ever before. Sarah unknowingly became a symbol of the strength of grassroots activism. She was asked to speak at neighborhood gatherings and was interviewed, but she remained constant in her humility and insisted that everyone could have an impact. Holding a glass of lemonade, she stated in one TV interview, "It's not about being perfect, caring, and doing what you can do with what you have is the key." At a time when many people felt helpless in the face of more significant societal issues, her narrative struck an important chord. It became an example that change often begins with a single modest idea, executed with passion and tenacity, rather than with large-scale initiatives or gestures. And for Sarah, it all started with a straightforward lemonade stand. Sarah's family experienced an unexpected feeling of stability as a result of the amazing generosity of strangers. They had enough food in their cupboards for months, thanks to the contributions. In addition to attracting support for Sarah's lemonade stand, the media attention helped her father, who had been looking for a job nonstop since the factory shut down. One opportunity in particular stood out: a position at the recently constructed Tesla factory in a nearby town. Elon Musk personally stepped in to make sure her father's application was given top priority after learning about Sarah's family. The factory was an aspect of Musk's idea for a sustainable production system. Musk allegedly stated, "Anyone raising a kid this resourceful deserves a fair shot," during a meeting with his team. After a strenuous interview process, Sarah's father received an offer for the position of a technician at the factory to help assemble solar panels and electric vehicle parts. In addition to providing financial security, the job gave life greater purpose for Sarah's dad. He remarked, "Isn't just a paycheck, it's a chance to build something meaningful," considering the ways in which his work will improve renewable energy solutions. Tesla factory workers in California are working so hard they're passing out on the production line, according to the Guardian newspaper. Watching her dad walk out the door every morning to go to work with fresh energy, however, was the greatest reward for Sarah. The little lemonade stand had changed more than their family's fortune. It had redefined their destiny. Yet for Sarah, what made the experience most rewarding wasn't the help her own family had received, but the ability to share their newfound abundance with others. "Now we have enough to share," she said in an interview with a local reporter. "That's what I wanted all along." And her words struck a chord with every person who heard them. Days later, Sarah's story was still making headlines, inspiring countless others to believe in the power of small acts of kindness. Elon Musk, the man whose tweet had amplified her story to global proportions, returned to visit Sarah in person. This time, he didn't wear sunglasses or try to blend in. Instead, he arrived with a sleek, solar-powered lemonade stand he'd had custom-made just for her. The stand was state-of-the-art, equipped with an innovative cooling system to keep her lemonade fresh even during the hottest days, and prominently displayed an inscription. "Right, time now for the uplift at 8. The stories are going to bring you some joy on this day. Like joy. We that." We some joy? We love some joy. All right, they say, in life, when life gives you lemons, what do you make? Lemonade. Exactly right. Innovation meets kindness. As he handed it over, Musk smiled and said, "You're the real entrepreneur here." Sarah beamed, her small hands gripping his firmly, humbled by the gesture. But Musk didn't stop there. Recognizing Sarah's natural knack for creativity and problem-solving, he announced that he would personally fund a scholarship for her education, ensuring that financial struggles would never limit her potential. "This world needs more thinkers and doers like Sarah," remarked. When the moment was appropriate, he also disclosed intentions to include Sarah into Tesla's ecosystem. In order to foster her entrepreneurial drive, Musk pledged that she will receive mentoring from Tesla's esteemed marketing team as part of this project. He assured her that she will inspire many more people in the future. "And I want Tesla to be a part of that journey." For Sarah, the possibilities were overwhelming, but she was looking forward to what lay ahead. Sometimes, it only takes one person to notice a small act of kindness to start a movement, and for Sarah, that person was Elon Musk. However, what truly astounded the world was Sarah's unwavering tenacity and big heart. Do you think Sarah deserves all that she received from Musk? If so, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Additionally, click the next video that appears on your screen. You will enjoy it.